So this video is about the lipids, and we'll learn these things in this, that is how the lipids are formed, to learn about the structure of lipids, to know the classification of the lipids and their function. So what are lipids? Lipids are the organic substances that are insoluble in water and soluble in organic solvents like alcohol and ether. What does it mean? It means whenever we mix water with oil, it does not mix. You can see clearly here, water and oil are mixed. Does not mix. When petroleum, ether and oil are tried to mix, it will mix. Okay, so lipids are formed from the esters of long chain fatty acids with glycerol. So what does this mean? Lipid structure has fatty acids and glycerol. So we'll see structure of glycerol and fatty acid. You can see this is the structure of glycerol, which contains 3 alcoholic groups, and fatty acid, which has one COOH group. It is an ester group. Okay, so now the lipids are formed from glycerol and fatty acids. How they are formed is by the process known as esterification. Means you can see when an acid reacts with alcohol, there is loss in OH from here and H from here, and it will cause an ester bond, and water is removed. Okay, this ester bonds are present in the lipids. So you can see lipids are formed when glycerol it reacts with the fatty acid and water is lost. You can see this is the structure of lipid. Okay, this is actually called triacyl glycerol because 3 fatty acids are joining with the glycerol. Okay, next you can see whenever single fatty acid chain joins with the glycerol, it forms monoacyl glycerol. When 2 fatty acid chain, it is called as diacyl glycerol. When 3 fatty acid chains react with glycerol, it forms the triacyl glycerol. Okay, so it is also called as triglyceride. Okay, next coming to the classification of lipids. Lipids are classified into simple lipids, complex lipids and derived lipids. In simple lipids we have fats and oils and also waxes, and complex lipids we have phospholipids, glycolipids and lipoproteins. In derived lipids, these lipids are formed from the breakdown products of these 2 lipids, like fats and oils. These contain simple structures like glycerol and fatty acid plus fatty acid. So these single units are called derived lipid. That is, glycerol is a derived lipid and fatty acid is also a derived lipid. Okay, next coming to the classification, see, you can see now we'll discuss simple lipids. Simple lipids has fats and oils. They are the esters of the fatty acids with glycerol. So here alcohol is mainly glycerol. Okay, glycerol are 3 OH group. Okay, whereas in waxes we can see these are the esters of fatty acid, that is long chain fatty acids, about 14 to 36 carbons. They react with high molecular weight. They react with other alcohols like cetyl alcohol, not glycerol. Okay, glycerol is present in fats and oils, whereas in waxes there is cetyl alcohol. And examples of fats and oils, you can see butter and also oil, ghee, etc. Whereas waxes, the example is honey wax, bee wax, that is used in candles, cosmetics, lipsticks, etc. Lip balms, everywhere that is used. Now compound lipids are the esters of fatty acids with alcohol and contain an additional group. They contain an additional group. It is called as prosthetic group. So what are these additional groups? Like they can be phosphate additional group, so it is called phospholipids. Okay, when there are carbohydrate, we call it glycolipids. When there are lipids with proteins, it's called lipoproteins. And others we have sulfolipids, aminolipids, liposaccharides. So coming to phospholipids, contain phosphoric acid as an extra group. They have a nitrogenous base also. So we have 2 types of phospholipids. They are glycerophospholipid and sphingophospholipid. By this name we can see glycero means they contain alcohol as glycerol, whereas in sphingophospholipid the alcohol is sphingosine. Examples are lecithin and cephalin for glycerophospholipids, and sphingomyelin for sphingophospholipid. This sphingomyelin is present around the nerves as a myelin sheet. Okay, so next is the glycolipid that contains carbohydrate as the prosthetic group, and here also alcohol, remember it is made of sphingosine, so it is called as glycosphingolipid. Okay, so glycerol and fatty acid are absent. Glycerol is the alcohol present in many lipids like this thing, fats and oils, but it is not present in glycolipids. Okay, examples are cerebrosides and gangliosides. Okay, you can see this is the structure of cerebroside, which contain glucose as a prosthetic group, and some complex oligosaccharides are present in the ganglioside. Next, lipoproteins. These are the complex of lipids with proteins. You can see these are the proteins that are present between the lipid layer. You can see this is the lipid bilayer. Okay, fluid mosaic layer. So when you see a single unit, when you take out, you can see here it contains a hydrophilic head and hydrophobic tail. Okay, to be clear here, hydrophilic means which will attract water or does not repel water, whereas hydrophobic tail does not like water. So these two sides are water permeable, whereas I mean not permeable, the water can be come up to here, but it can't penetrate this layer. Okay, it should go through these channels. Okay, other complex lipids are sulfolipids, aminolipids, and lipopolysaccharides. And neutral lipids are the lipids which are uncharged. Their examples are triacylglycerol and cholesterol. Okay, next, coming to the functions of lipids. Lipids are the important sources of energy. That is 1 gram of fat yields about 9.3 kilocalories, and also lipids form the protective coating around certain organs so that the organs does not move and keep them in position, and also they act as thermal insulator and electrical insulator for the organs. As they are present around the organs, it provides the protection, and also serve as source for fat soluble vitamins, that are A, D, E, K, and also they are present in membrane structure as lipid bilayer, and others are prostaglandins, some hormones, and some vitamins are also lipid in nature. For example, some hormones like this thing, prostaglandin, I mean levonorgestrel and progesterone, these are lipid in nature. Okay, so next, coming to fatty acid. Fatty acid is the simplest form of a lipid. So these are the aliphatic monocarboxylic organic acid with hydrocarbon side chain. You can see the structure here. It has a long hydrocarbon chain with COOH group. This is COOH. This is the acidic group, carboxylic acid group. Okay, so fatty acids are included in the group of derived lipids. I have said to you that fatty acids are the derived lipid, means you know that. Okay, most common component of the lipids in the body. Okay, and the general formula is RCOOH, that is R is an hydrocarbon side chain. You have already seen the structure. Okay, next we have the even and odd chain fatty acids. Whenever fatty acid which contain even number of carbons are called as even chain fatty acid. When they are odd chain odd number of carbons are there, then it's odd chain fatty acid. Okay, so why mainly the fatty acids are even in number? Because it is the biosynthesis of the fatty acid occurs with the sequential addition of 2 carbon units. Okay, so examples are palmitic acid, which contains 16 carbon, and stearic acid 18 carbon. Okay, and odd chain fatty acid example is the propanoic acid. Okay, you can see the structure here. So next we have saturated versus unsaturated fatty acid. So saturated fatty acid has no double or triple bonds. Okay, and unsaturated fatty acid has a double bond or a triple bond in the fatty acid. Okay, you can see saturated has no double bonds, unsaturated has double bonds. Okay, you should not consider the COOH. This is the acidic group. You should see in the long chain if there are double bonds or not. Okay, so examples, you have palmitic and stearic acid which are saturated, oleic acid, and you can see it is unsaturated fatty acid. So next, nomenclature. The systemic name is based on the hydrocarbon from which it is derived, and it has suffix anoic acid for saturated fatty acid. Okay, you can see this is saturated fatty acid which contain 8 carbons, so it is called octane, and oic acid. These are the anoic acid. These are saturated fatty acid, octanoic acid. Okay, next, what is enoic acid? Is used for unsaturated fatty acid. Okay, some of the unsaturated fatty acid like oleic acid. Okay, they are the enoic acid. And next, coming to the numbering, the carbon atoms are numbered from COOH group as 1. Okay, the carbon adjacent to it are the 2, 3, 4. You can see the carbon atom is number 1, and adjacent to it 2, 3, 4, etc. Whereas omega starts from the methyl group. Methyl group is CH3. The end of the long chain has a methyl group from which omega is counted. Okay, terminal methyl group is omega carbon. This is the omega carbon. Okay, next, according to the chain length, we have short chain, medium chain, and long chain fatty acids. Short chain means 2 to 8 carbons, medium means 10 to 12 carbon atoms, whereas long chain has more than 12 carbon atoms in it. Next, we have the shorthand representation. There are 3 main rules. So how we'll write the shorthand notation? This is the shorthand notation. For example, if we take linolenic acid, here we have written as 18, 2, 9, 12. What does it mean? So this 18 is the total number of carbons. You can see here each one is 1 carbon. I mean, it starts from here. So you can see each bump here is a carbon atom. So there are total 18 carbons. So number of carbon atoms are written here. Next, how many double bonds are there in this? We'll write. So how many double bonds are there? You can see here 1 double bond and here 1 double bond. So here 2 came. Next, we'll write where are the positions of double bond. One is at 9 and one is at 12. I think this numbering has gone a bit backward. So okay, so 9 and 12 at the 9th position and the 12th position. As in, this should come here and this should come here. That's a mistake, sorry. So total number of carbon atoms are written first, number of double bonds next, finally the carbon positions we should write. Where are the double bonds? Okay, next, linoleic acid. You can see here, in this also numbering has gone, I don't know why. So here we'll see omega. So whenever a double bond is we'll count the number of carbons from which the double bond is there from the backward. So you can see omega 1, omega 2, omega 3, omega 4, omega 5, omega 6. So at the omega 6th position we have a double bond. So it is called as omega 6 fatty acid. Example is linoleic acid. So some of the examples you can see. Can you guess what is this? Like you can count the number of carbons. From here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. So you can write as 20. How many 4 bonds? Okay, 4 double bonds. Why this is not working? 4 double bonds. Next, what are the positions? 5, 8, 11, 14. 5, 8, 11, 14. So you should write like this. Okay, arachidonic acid. It is okay. This is the, you tell omega 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is also omega 6 fatty acid, okay, arachidonic acid. So you can see some of the examples of omega 3 series are linolenic acid, omega 6 is linoic acid, arachidonic acid, whereas omega 9 is oleic acid. Okay, next, yeah, that's it. I have taken this reference